right, so welcome to our volunteer celebration, our Portland Public School volunteer celebration. This is our district. You are the heart and soul of our volunteers, and you are just so special to all of us. Thank you for being here. My name's Nyla Wisa. I am the coordinator, the community coordinator here at East End Community School. And I've been looking at these quotes on the screen, and one of the proverbs I really embrace is that it takes a village to raise a child. It's something that I've always believed in, and you are our village. You are our community that makes many of our programs possible. Without you, it would not be possible. Thank you for your caring. Thank you for your commitment, your dedication. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to keep this brief because we've got a wonderful program ahead of us. And after, we'll have some speakers, and at the end, we will close with the East End Community School Rock Band. They just went to Augusta and performed earlier this week. And Tim Fullwider, our music teacher, will be leading them in a finale song. Thank you so much for being here. Next, we'll hear from Tim Cronin, Director of Make It Happen.
Thank you very much to everybody for coming today. We're so grateful that all the fabulous volunteers who make Portland schools a fabulous place are here. We're so glad to be able to recognize your service and all our partners. But just in case you're not sure about what Make It Happen is an academic support and college readiness program that's at Portland's 3 high schools. And we've had the benefit of having, I would say, probably over 300 to 400 coaches over the last few years. And I'm glad to report that there's somebody here to tell you about the impact that folks like Ann and Cindy over here have had on our students. And this gentleman who's going to get up and speak right now, he's one of our juniors at Deering High School, and he's been in our program for 3 years, so he's had the benefit of knowing quite a few of our academic coaches. So I'm going to turn it over to him right now. His name is Fuad Umer. If you give him a round of applause, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming. My name is Fuad Umar. I'm a junior at Deering High School. I'm a junior at Deering High School. I'm just learning over. I work with Make It Happen and with the partner was at least now I can say 3 years. And thank you for coming here, and I just want to say thank you for helping us to make it here. When I first introduced with Make It Happen, it was when I was in freshman year, was Tim. He came up to me after like block 4, the last minute, and he told me, my name is Tim, and I can help you get college. I was like, I don't know this guy, and and I barely understand him with my English. And somehow we communicate, and he say, you have a good grade, I can help you get better and get a college. I say, oh, that's a pretty good deal. All right. And since then, we start meeting up every 2 weeks to check my grades and what am I doing, like to help my academic career look good. And he saw my grades it's not good as like my English, because I'm not native on it. And he introduced me with Ian, which is now my academic coach. And I want to talk about Les because she have a huge impact on my academic and social life too. And I had a chance to work on with other volunteers too, like John Niels. I met John Niels this year because I needed help from calculus because I'm getting hard on it, and he started helping me. This year, and the most important thing I learned from him, it was seeing the problem in different ways. Like, it's not just attacking the problem, go around it and simplify it, make it easy for yourself until you can do it. And that helped me like to do most of my homeworks. And thank you, Jonathan. The volunteer I work on was John Neal. John Neal was a great person. He always wanted me like to understand the questions, and he makes sure like I could do it by my own if he's not there too. Like he tried to teach me the general, like the information, and he always fun to talk to because he was like a physician, and the way like he see the problem is a different way from John Nail still. Like I have two experience like to see different ways to solve these problems, and I would say thank you for Jonathan Nail still. And on I work on from like freshman year. Now it's like almost 3 years. We work on writing essays, history. Most of the time we work on like filling applications. And FYI, I never get declined. Like I always get it somehow. Because she helped me like she encouraged me to be myself in writing and to be vulnerable in my writing to other people to see me just by reading my writing. And some programs I got in from Make It Happen, and Make It Happen partner was Seeds of Peace, Winter Trick, Ripple Effect, Human Summer Camp, Coding Camp, Triple Effect was Triple Effect this year, and USM Video Project. This all I applied, I never get declined. Yeah, thank you for. Make It Happen and Make It Happen partners have the major impact on my life. Since the day I introduced to Make It Happen, they were there, like when I need help, every time. And I just want to say thank you for Eric Johnson, John Dodd, John Niels, and team, Megan, Daniel, and all the Make It Happen partner and volunteers. I know you guys doing a great job. Thank you for your times.
Our next volunteer is the director of the St. Lawrence Art Center. Deirdre Nice has volunteered with East End for a couple of years now. She's done the walking school bus as well as Rise and Shine. Her Sock Monkeys is one of the most popular Rise and Shine classes. And Deirdre, why don't you come on up here? Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Deirdre, and I do run St. Lawrence Arts up the street. 5 years ago, Nyla, we were having a conversation, and she said, how about volunteering at the East End School? And it's interesting, because at St. Lawrence, one of my jobs is trying to get people to volunteer. And And I was like, wow, I guess sometimes you just have to ask. I had not thought of this as an opportunity. I have had such a blast the last 5 years. I've been doing the Rise and Shine. I started out with a reading group who completely took advantage of me for the entire year. And I think my iPad got cracked 5 times. But we had such a fun time, and they didn't want to read any of the books that I selected, and we ended up just having a really fun time during that 20 or 30 minutes before school. And I've watched those little kids grow up and move on to King, and it's just been, I just love this neighborhood and this community. And then I volunteered with a few of the teachers, and then I started the Sock Monkey group, which has been so much fun. And the level of ability is really varied, and it's just I love the colors that the kids choose. And in any case, it's a lot of fun. Like all of you, I'm sure we've been volunteering for most of our lives. I have since I was a kid. I was actually president of the Kiet Club at Deering High School. I don't even know if they would call it that anymore. Maybe it's just the Key Club now, but it was the girls' wing. But anyway, and I volunteered back then at Longfellow School. I have been having so much fun. It's so great to see all of you who support this community, support East End Community School, support the Portland school system in general. You know, we all know how important we all are, and we're allowed to say thanks to ourselves. And I thank you all for being part of this beautiful volunteer gig that we have going. So thank you for letting me say a few words. And boy, it's going to be a few years where I get up to your number of volunteer years, Jackie. All right, thank you. I love you guys.
I'm not quite sure how you follow sock monkeys, but I'm going to try. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very, very grateful to have the opportunity to speak to you all today about the value and the importance of volunteers in our schools. It was when I became a teacher, a long time ago, that I first learned what an incredible impact a loving, caring adult can make on a child's life. I'll be honest, as a very new teacher, it was initially about having that extra set of hands and pair of eyes to help make sure I didn't leave anyone behind on a field trip. That simple. But as the years passed, I realized that what volunteers bring to children is so much more than corralling kids on a field trip or leading them in a rousing or round of sight word bingo, right, Fran? The big question for me is, why do you do it? Why bother volunteering? I've thought about this often. I found myself asking, why on earth is Grammy Judy here volunteering? It's 10 degrees and it's snowing, sideways. Why is Mrs. Sanita here when she could be gardening, visiting family, traveling? I think you get the picture. As I've thought about the why, I've also come to the realization that when it comes to service work, in my view, there isn't anything that you can do that is more important than helping children. Volunteers create better circumstances and outcomes for others. They create healthier, more vibrant communities. And most importantly, they brighten lives. Looking at you, Fran. And while we know it's important to build vocabularies, know that it's equally important to build relationships, because in the world of education, everything hinges on those positive relationships. Volunteers build those relationships. And so we often wonder why you do it, but know that we're so very glad and grateful that you do it. And in closing, I'd like to leave you with this quote from Khalil Gibran. And he said, "You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give." Thank you for truly giving to the students of the Portland Public Schools. All of you. Hey, I gotta introduce Fran. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I thought I didn't. Oh, by the way, I'm Lenore Williams, principal at Lyseth Elementary School. It doesn't matter. No, I do want to introduce someone who is very important, however. I'm having the privilege of introducing a volunteer. I lovingly call her my deserter. Fran started out as a volunteer at Lyseth, and now she works for the Riverton community. And I've come to terms with that. As long as she's helping somewhere and she's still working her magic, it's okay if it's not at Lyseth. Not really, Fran. So I would like to, at this time, introduce to you someone who embodies everything that I hope that I touched upon earlier in my remarks, the lovely Ms. Fran Seeley. Give you a hug. Hey, by the way, I'm still missing you.
You are.
I am. I'm still missing you.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Lenore, for that nice introduction. And a little correction, I did begin at Riverton. And I was at Riverton for 7.5 years before I went to Lyseth. So,
It's all about me, Fran.
I know it's all about you, but anyway, I have the honor of being a foster grandparent, and I am now volunteering back at Riverton, which is in my own neighborhood. And here we have quite a number of our foster grandparents who volunteer in many of the Portland schools. When I was thinking about what I might say today, I thought, as we get older, and I think all of you will agree with me, we begin to think of what are we going to leave behind? And if you're like me, there won't be very much of material stuff to leave behind. I'm doing a really concerted effort to clear my basement because I don't have any family here in the United States with me, and I tell my neighbors, please do not give me gifts because you're the ones who will have to clean up my basement. And it's working. Anything I have, I've already decided it's going to charity. The charities don't know, so if there's nothing left, nobody's going to be disappointed. However, there is something that we can all leave, or live rather than leave. Instead of thinking about leaving a legacy, I like to think that as volunteers, we live a legacy. And by that I mean, for foster grandparents, we are all 55 and better. Some of us way better than that. We have volunteers in their 90s. And the legacy that we leave is our connections with these children with whom we volunteer. And it could be helping them with their little sight words, like you say with the sight word bingo, and suddenly they know the word no and you see the light bulb going off. And just by the encouragement that we give to those kids, that's a legacy. And the nice thing about volunteering with kids is you get to see your legacy in action. If you leave something, you're dead. You've no idea what people will do with it. You have no idea whether people are going to fight over it. But I see kids, I've been volunteering now for 16 years, and I see kids now who are in college. And when they greet me, and I'm still Grammy Fran to these big towering people, that's my legacy. I somehow have touched their lives. But on the flip side, I'm gaining. It's an intergenerational opportunity because every day that I go into school, I feel good about going, and I feel even better when I leave. These little kids will come up to me. We serve breakfast when the kids come in, and with kindergarten. And they come in and they give you a hug. Hi, Grammy Fran. And if I've had to go to an in-service, I always tell them I'm going to Grammy school. And when I come in the next day, I missed you. Now, I'm speaking for me, but I'm also speaking for all of the volunteers who are here. The impact that you have by connecting with these children is amazing. It's amazing for me, for us, as well as for those children. And I think nowadays, connections are even more important than ever. Human connections, intergenerational connections. Kids nowadays, in many cases, they have a babysitter that is a device. They're constantly on the little devices. They're not getting enough human contact. And we can give them that human contact, and they can give it to us. And that intergenerational connection, I think, is even more important when you have families coming from other countries. And usually, the part of the family that doesn't get to come with them is the older generation, because the older generation wants the younger generation to have an opportunity to succeed. So many of our little kids don't have grandparents in their lives. They don't have the extended family. And even many of our kiddos who were born here in the United States, because we're such a mobile society, they don't have contact with their extended family. I had a parent who wrote a little card at Christmas and said, you know, I'm so glad that my son has you in his daily life because he doesn't see his Mimi or his Grammy very often. And you can see that. We're like that, the fluff. Even though we're helping with the academics or with crafts or whatever, we're more like that loving presence. Boy, does that feel good, right? It really does. There's no price you can put on that. So I know a lot of you here are volunteers in different functions, different ways that you volunteer. The foster grandparent, let me tell you, it is an amazing opportunity for living your legacy. So if you would like to join the foster grandparents, you're more than welcome. Anybody who's ready to retire, or you know somebody who really needs to be out there doing something and feeling good, whether it's foster grandparents or any other type of volunteering. I think it was Muhammad Ali who said, volunteering is the price we pay for our rent on this earth. And we're living in mansions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Fran. I believe we're going to have our Superintendent Javier Botana speak now.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here today in this lovely room at this amazing school, thanking all of you for all that you do for our children every day. This is a tremendous opportunity, and I am so grateful to be here. Thank you to Kelly Thornhill and Boyd Marley. They're flying around here. They do such an amazing job here at East End Community School. So thank you for hosting us here tonight. I would also like to thank Grace Valenzuela and her team for organizing this event. Grace is a unique person. We sat down as part of our ongoing check-ins a while back, and I said to her, it would be really nice to recognize our volunteers. So the thing that you have to know about Grace is that she loves to plan a party. So she's the only person that you can say, I'd like to recognize our volunteers, and thinks this is an opportunity to have a 700-person wedding. So she planned on having all of our volunteers here with us today, and you're very well represented by the people in this room, and I am so grateful to Grace and her amazing team for putting this together the way that they have. Our 700 community volunteers represent parents and other community members who together, I think you may have heard this already, together have given over 90,000 hours of time to the Portland Public Schools in this past year. And they do that time and time again. So today really is about recognizing you and giving you my most heartfelt thanks to all of you for the work that you do for our students every day in our schools. Your caring, your expertise, your absolute commitment to our students is undeniable, and it makes a huge difference in their lives. One of the favorite things for me about being superintendent here in the Portland Public Schools is that I know without a doubt that this is a community that is dedicated and devoted to its public schools, a community that believes that education is important. When you look around, when you watch the news, when you open the newspaper these days, you can't miss the fact that in states all across the country, in West Virginia, in Oklahoma, in Arizona, and now in North Carolina, teachers are walking off the jobs that they love to remind their communities that the work that they do is incredibly important and that it deserves recognition. So I am so grateful that I come to work every day knowing that that is not the circumstances that we are dealing with in Portland, that our community believes in its schools, supports its teachers, and believes that education is a fundamental part of a wonderful, diverse, thriving city. Our volunteers come from all backgrounds, and in our very diverse school system, that also means that they come from many different countries. They include parents, some of whom begin volunteering when their kids start school in kindergarten, and then stay with us through their entire experience and then stay on after that. It also includes volunteers who aren't parents themselves, but value education and want to help our community's children learn. Our volunteers range in age from retirees, as you've heard already tonight, and grandparents sharing a lifetime of knowledge with our students, and they also include young professionals who are sharing their cutting-edge expertise with our students, and they also include other students who work in near-peer mentoring experiences with many of our students. Our volunteers do a myriad of things in our schools. For example, our classroom volunteers do everything from assisting students with reading and math to helping teachers organize classrooms and prepare materials. Volunteers in our Make It Happen program, a college readiness and academic success program, and you saw a wonderful example of that earlier, assist our students with the college application process and helping them to engage in leadership, community engagement, service, and professional development. Outside the classroom, our volunteers do such things as accompanying students to school in our walking school bus program, of which I am myself, along with Assistant Superintendent Crocker, a volunteer every week over by our central office, and serving on our PTOs, planning and organizing fundraisers, teaching students new skills before and after school, serving as accompanists for our student and parent choruses, assisting with drama clubs or as volunteer coaches, working as sports boosters, and manning the ticket office and concession at sporting events. They also, as you heard in the case of Principal Williams, also chaperone field trips and make sure that teachers don't leave anyone behind. And they also work in our school dances and project graduation. One of our core strategies as a school district is to ensure that every student has a meaningful relationship with a caring adult. And oftentimes that relationship is with a school employee. But in the Portland Public Schools, oftentimes that relationship is with one of the people in this room that we are here to celebrate and honor, our volunteers. So thank you. Let's hear it for all of our volunteers. So I also have the honor of appreciating some of the people that aren't volunteers, that are people that work in our school district and do a tremendous job of helping us to recruit, support, and otherwise attract and retain our volunteers. And so I'm going to ask some of our staff, if I can find my notes, here we go, some of our staff that are here, and we're going to start with our community coordinators. So if we could have our community coordinators, I know you guys are back there, if you can come on up here. We have a little gift for you. We've got a little recognition for them. Nancy Barang from King, Kathy Cole from Riverton and Casco Bay High School, Sue Dayan, Lyman Moore and Portland High School, Phyllis Hay, Presumpscot and Lincoln, Julie Soul, Peaks Island, not here, and Tina Mickelson, Paul Deering and Paths, and Sylvie Montello. And also not with us is Melissa Riley, but of course, Nyla Wisa is here. So Nyla. These guys, every day, they wake up and recruit volunteers, help to get them into our schools and support them in their endeavors. So thank you guys so much for everything that you do. And I also want to recognize our parent community specialists. So our parent community specialists that are here, come on up. These folks are such an incredibly valuable part of the Portland Public Schools. They are our links to our different communities, our different language communities. They do an amazing job helping our teachers to be able to connect, to be able to relate, to be able to understand our students, their culture, their families, and their language. And so without the work that they do every day, we would not be able to do the work that we do as a community. So I would love to be able to recognize Shamso Farah, Monique Mutumwinka, I'm sorry, I butchered that, didn't I? And Josephine Bizimana. And I saw Betsy somewhere. Did she leave? She had to go. So Betsy Paz Jimensi was also here, but she's gone. So thank you very much for everything that you do, and thank you for being here. So, and none of this, especially today, would have been possible without Grace's right-hand person, and that is Nanette Dyer-Blake. So Nanette, the reason that Grace jumps at any wedding is because she has a wedding planner on her team, and that is Nanette Dyer-Blake. Nanette is amazing, so thank you, Nanette, for everything that you do. And then Nanette jumps at this because she also has a team, because everybody has somebody behind them. We all build off of each other. So we also have Ryan Knipple, and Jay Butcher. Jeannie knows how good I am at names, so thank you guys for everything that you do.
I just want to say that Ryan and Jay are AmeriCorps volunteers, so they do our service for us.
All right, and I think you're up.
Okay, we're done. Okay, so next we have our East End Community School Rock Band. I'm wondering if Mr. Fullwider is out there. He's here, yay! Would you like to say a few remarks? So I can also introduce the band. I've got Wyatt Kennedy on keyboards, Isaiah Anderson on guitar back there. We've got Isaac Houghton, did I say your name correctly? Yes, on bass. And we've got Aiden Higgins-Brewster on drums. And we've got our Glee Club singers who are going to accompany our rock band. So as they get ready, Mr. Fullwider applied for a grant last spring and was awarded a grant. And with that, he went and purchased the instruments, the drum set and bass, guitar, keyboards, and put together this rock band. They've been practicing since the beginning of the year. And many of them are trying something new that they've never done before. So it's exciting for them, and I think it was really exciting for them to all go to Augusta and perform there in front of our governor and perform with other schools. So this is their second performance of the week. You guys are all warmed up and ready to go?
I think so.
All right.
All right, we're the East End Rock Band. We're missing a couple of band members tonight. We've got at least one person playing an instrument they've never performed on before. All right. Yeah, like Ms. Wiesel said, I applied for a grant just about a year ago, and it was through this great nationwide nonprofit organization called Little Kids Rock, and they embarked on the first ever statewide music initiative in the state of Maine, partnered with the Maine Department of Education. And just on Tuesday, we got back from a huge concert in Augusta. We were in the news, there were TV cameras, they took photos of us, you know, doing all the stuff that real rock stars do. And yeah, we were one of 9 other schools from around the state that were selected to participate in the grant, and we've been rocking out ever since. And the grant, I think, will expand to like over 1,000 schools in the next 3 years. We're planning on just rolling out the same kind of program all over the state of Maine. So, we're starting out with a song called "Hold On" by Alabama Shakes, and we think you'll recognize this second.
right, thank you, Rock Band. And the crowd says, encore! Encore!
This looks like the end, but it looks like you want more. But this is the end of our programs. Thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate all the support, the help, your time, and the hours that you put in helping our students. Thank you very much for coming.